Today, we're talking about how to detox your lungs. As a toxicologist, this is absolutely one of the most important areas to address for overall health. Keep watching because I'm sharing tips and alternatives to help you detox your lungs. Let's start by saying that the airways are the quickest and easiest route of toxic exposure because what we inhale can quickly enter the bloodstream and travel throughout the body, including the brain. Generally speaking, there are two types of lung toxicants. They can be particles and volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, which are gases. This goes without saying, but number one, absolutely stop smoking. Stop smoking cigarettes, e-cigs, vaping, hookah. None of them are good for your health. Smoking kills, period. We know it causes cancer. Vaping and hookah might seem less concerning since there isn't combustion or burning of anything involved, but here's something that will absolutely shock you. The flavors added to vapes and hookah are not tested for inhalation toxicity, meaning there's absolutely no safety data behind the use of flavors in tobacco, which are inhaled. The key to detoxing your lungs is to avoid polluting them while cleaning your air and supporting your detoxification pathways simultaneously. So let's talk about how to detox our lungs. Number one, take off your shoes at the door. This means leave your outside shoes at the door and don't wear them in the house because shoe soles are known to bind pathogens, pollutants, heavy metals, fecal material, aka poop, microplastics. They also release microplastics because they're made of plastic, as well as zinc. And it's even been shown that healthcare workers' shoes have certain types of bacteria that cause serious infections. So keep your outside shoes in a designated area like a shoe rack. You can bring them in the house, but just keep them by the door. Instead, wear slippers or socks if your feet are cold. And if you have guests coming over who aren't used to taking their shoes off, have some guest slippers available so that they feel more comfortable. Number two way to detox your lungs is to minimize the burning of candles and incense. Let's talk about candles. Lots of people love candles for a variety of reasons, like relaxation, creating ambiance, or releasing scent into the home. There's nothing wrong with enjoying scent, but we have to do so responsibly because most of these scented candles are actually made out of low-quality petroleum-derived paraffin wax. They are synthetic and also include undisclosed synthetic fragrances, which when burned, liberate toxic pollutants into the air that we're inhaling. Did you know that candles are a source of indoor pollutants like formaldehyde, benzene, toluene, and ultrafine particles? These are amongst the most hazardous of lung toxicants known to man. They're known human carcinogens that should not be inhaled, especially in an enclosed space, especially around children, elderly, and pets. Something that might shock you is that the fragrance chemicals and these pollutants that I've mentioned can actually bind to the dust in our homes and become recirculated as we move about the house. So it's not like you're only getting exposed when you're burning the candle, but you're getting exposed long after that unless you are regularly cleaning, sweeping, dusting, and mopping. And not to mention, this is hazardous to babies who have low body weight, are crawling on the floor, and putting things in their mouths. This means that these toxic chemicals from candles disproportionately affect an infant or a child compared to an adult when you just look at their body weight alone. Furthermore, their detox pathways are not fully developed. So early life exposures, such as during baby years or childhood, can actually contribute to diseases in young adult as well as adulthood. Another thing you might not know about candles is that they emit pollutants even when they are not lit. I'm sure you know that they contain toxic fragrance chemicals that when burned liberate carcinogens, allergens, and endocrine disruptors. Even some of the dyes that are used to create those bright colored candles are carcinogenic according to Health Canada. But is there a way to enjoy candles safely? On a technical level, burning anything is not a healthy habit because even if you're burning the most pure of all waxes, there's still combustion happening, which creates carcinogenic pollutants. So it's technically not a healthy practice. With that said, I've dove into the research and looked at all of the papers I could find on candles and emissions based on the types of waxes out there. And it appears that beeswax emits the least amount of pollutants as well as essential oils. However, use caution again around children, the elderly, and pets, and be sure to open your windows to allow fresh air inside, especially if your outdoor air quality is favorable. Now let's talk about incense. Incense has been used for religious practices for thousands and thousands of years, but the situation gets complicated by the fact that incense, as we know it now, has become a trendy home fragrance product. And in that way, a lot of companies have started to mass produce them and have lowered the quality. Unlike the incense used by our ancestors, which was probably made from pure plants and flowers, the modern day incense likely contains undisclosed fragrance chemicals, like we mentioned, carcinogens, allergens, and endocrine disruptors. Here are some facts that you need to know about incense. Burning incense creates carcinogens, toxic volatile compounds, and more particulate matter than cigarettes, according to studies. According to the Danish Environmental Protection Agency, incense smoke contains endocrine disrupting phthalates. Incense burning is associated with respiratory issues and poor cognitive function. It's also associated with an increased risk for DNA mutations and cancer. Like most things, it's especially hazardous to babies and children, and prenatal exposure to incense burning is significantly correlated with lower birth weight, increased hyperactive behaviors in children, delayed motor development in babies, and children whose parents burned incense in the home had nearly 3 times higher risk of developing childhood leukemia. For these reasons, you might want to consider an electronic incense lamp for spiritual purposes, or if you absolutely must burn incense, do it outside and make sure that you are getting plenty of ventilation and avoid directly inhaling the smoke. The third way to detox your lungs is to avoid all products that contain undisclosed fragrance or parfum. This is a big one because fragrance is literally in everything: skincare, hair care, makeup, laundry detergent, scented plugins, air fresheners, dryer sheets, so much more. If you look at the back of your favorite products on the ingredients list and see the words fragrance or parfum, this is what I'm talking about. It's a major red flag, and it should be avoided at all costs. Because manufacturers legally do not have to disclose what's in their fragrance, this seemingly innocuous word can contain any combination of up to nearly 4,000 different chemicals, including known carcinogens, endocrine disrupting phthalates, as well as allergens. Check out the International Fragrance Association, or IFRA, website for their transparency list to see all the chemicals that I'm talking about. Why are fragrances so bad for us? Well, number one, they're inhaled, meaning they are reaching our bloodstream, brain, and the rest of our bodies, including our endocrine organs, which, in case you didn't know, we have 8 of them, not just our reproductive organs, but all over the body, including the brain. Number two, the word fragrance is generally code for endocrine disrupting phthalates, which mimic estrogen in the body and have been associated with numerous health issues, including reproductive issues, infertility, early death, as well as cognitive issues in children, as well as metabolic dysfunction. Number three is that fragrance chemicals aren't just in the air, but they also latch onto household dust and surfaces, so you're constantly exposed if you bring these into your home. So instead, look for products that contain essential oils if you really are looking for scent. But be aware that essential oils also have inherent risks, and a lot of people can react to them. So look out for that, especially, again, practice caution if you've got children or pets in your home. Number four way to detox your lungs is by sweeping, mopping, vacuuming, and dusting your home regularly. Toxic pollutants from cooking, burning candles and incense, fragrance products, all of these can attach to the house dust in our homes. And unless you are regularly cleaning all of your surfaces, mopping, dusting, sweeping, and vacuuming, then you are recirculating these chemicals and inhaling them once again. So just a quick note on microfiber cloths. A lot of them are marketed as being eco-friendly since they allow you to clean your home without the use of chemicals. But most people are not aware that microfiber is actually made out of polyester, which is a synthetic fiber. What happens is every time you move that fiber, that plastic, it is actually breaking up into micro and nanoplastics that are creating more dust and more particulate matter and more pollution in your home. So instead of buying microfiber cloths, it's so much better to grab an old t-shirt or an old piece of clothing, cut it up, and use it as an upcycled cloth instead of buying new microfiber. And just a note on cleaning products. The best types of cleaning products are made with plant-derived ingredients without fragrances or harsh synthetic chemicals, especially if your cleaning products have any type of hazard or warning label on them. This is a red flag and you might want to look for something else. One of my personal favorite brands is Branch Basics, because all you have to do is grab one concentrated solution and dilute it in various ways to make glass cleaner, dish soap. You can use it as hand soap, laundry detergent, and all-purpose cleaning, and it works so well as a glass cleaner, especially. I was so surprised. So hey, real quick, if you're someone who loves burning candles, but doesn't want to increase your toxic load, then be sure to click the link in the description below and grab your Low Tox Candle Lovers Guide. It's absolutely free, and I created it for you. Tip number 5 to detox your lungs is to reduce cooking fumes. Cooking fumes contain particulate matter 2.5, which are ultrafine particles, as well as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. And as we talked about earlier, cooking creates particulate matter as well as volatile organic compound pollution. So here's how to detox your lungs from these cooking pollutants. Avoid burning food and oils, which create smoke. And be sure to use your vent fan. Make sure it vents outside. I've actually lived in a place where the vent fan just blew the fumes right back in my face, which was completely useless. So another option, if you don't have a vent fan, is to open a window near the cooking area and use a fan to blow the fumes out. So at least you're not inhaling them or the entire amount. Steaming and boiling your food instead of grilling, frying, roasting, and baking actually creates less pollutants. It actually doesn't create pollution really at all. So any type of cooking application that involves water is the healthiest. And tip number 6 to detox your lungs is to refresh the air. This is such a majorly important issue because a lot of people aren't doing this enough, and detoxing your lungs can be as simple as opening your windows. There are nuances to this and caveats. So for example, if you are living near an agricultural area or in a heavily wooded area, then you might have increased risk of mold as well as endotoxin and pesticides in your air. But for most people, if you check the air quality outside of where you live and the air quality looks good, then you can easily refresh the air in your room simply by opening the windows. Studies show that even opening your windows for an hour can refresh the air in an entire room of average size. But if you can't open your windows because outdoor air pollution is higher, then you might want to consider making yourself a HEPA fan filter by taping a HEPA filter to a box fan or investing in an air purifier. My personal favorite is the Air Doctor. And if it's cold where you live and you don't want to sit with the windows open, well then I recommend opening the windows when you leave the room. And tip number 7 to detox your lungs is to avoid synthetic fibers. These can include polyester, nylon, and acrylic. And what happens is these synthetic textiles will break up and release microplastics and nanoplastics into your home and into your air. Not to mention, most clothing, textiles like bed sheets and rugs are made of synthetic fibers like what we mentioned, and we don't want to be inhaling particles and creating more dust and pollution in our homes because of these synthetic textiles. So if you really want to take your lung detox to the next level, then consider minimizing and avoiding the purchase of new synthetic materials, because studies show that microplastic particles have been detected in human lung, blood, gut, heart, placenta, as well as fetal meconium, indicating in utero exposure. Furthermore, mechanistic data show that microplastics are causing oxidative stress and inflammation on the cellular level. The long-term effects of these are not known, but it's not looking good, and it doesn't look like we can easily clear these from the body. Just a quick tip that if you are shopping and you see recycled polyester little tag on clothing, they're greenwashing, and they're trying to make you feel like this product is safer or more eco-friendly than it actually is, when in fact, it's just made out of recycled plastic water bottles. So instead, I recommend looking for natural fibers like organic cotton, hemp, linen, or Tencel and lyocell. My personal favorite brand for organic clothing is Pact. And number 8, how to detox your lungs is by supporting your detox organs. So we talked about avoiding exposure to lung toxicants. We talked about avoiding the creation of more pollution in your home. But what about the actual detoxification part of the equation when it comes to our bodies? Well, we have built-in detoxification systems. Otherwise, we would be dead. However, with our modern lifestyle, our antioxidant defenses and detox pathways can become overburdened. A lot of people are struggling with a high toxic load and wondering why they have some of these mystery symptoms, but this is because we are continuously exposed to persistent pollutants like PFAS, PCBs, and our detox pathways get backed up, especially the workhorse and the mother of all antioxidants, glutathione. What is glutathione? Well, it's the master antioxidant that basically powers our cells to detoxify free radicals and environmental chemicals. We have it in every cell of the body, with the highest levels in the liver and kidney, followed by the reproductive organs, which goes to show how critical this tripeptide molecule is really in protecting our health and survival. So what does glutathione actually do? Well, it detoxifies free radicals as well as binds to environmental chemicals and toxins and removes them from the body during phase 2 detoxification. Several chronic diseases are linked with low glutathione levels, such as aging, premature aging, Alzheimer's, cancer, cognitive impairment, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, HIV and AIDS, hypertension, as well as infertility, liver disease, lupus, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's. So how do we get glutathione? Well, our bodies make it in a 2-step ATP-dependent process. And in the first step, glutamate and cysteine are combined by the enzyme gamma-glutamyl cysteine synthetase. Then a glycine amino acid is added onto the molecule by glutathione synthetase. So it's basically a tripeptide. It's glutamate, cysteine, and glycine. Super simple, super powerful. Fun fact, I got my PhD studying glutathione balance in the ovary and its extremely important role in reproduction, fertility, and cancer prevention. So how can we increase our glutathione production and balance in the body? Well, lifestyle changes like diet and exercise have shown to improve glutathione status in people, and there are a lot of different types of foods that can help to increase glutathione, such as sulfur-rich foods like cruciferous veggies. And studies show that if you add mustard seed powder on top of your cruciferous veggies, this can increase the amount of sulforaphane in those veggies, which is the sulfur-containing powerhouse that helps to power glutathione. You can also improve your glutathione with asparagus, papaya, matcha, berries, eggs, meat, as well as salmon. What about some lifestyle changes that we can implement to improve glutathione? Well, aerobic and weight training exercise. Make sure you get really good quality sleep, avoid smoking, excess alcohol consumption, and the continuous use of acetaminophen, which is known to deplete glutathione, as well as swap out your toxic beauty and personal care products, your bottled water, and you can even use infrared sauna or sweat-inducing activities, which have been shown to increase the detoxification of environmental chemicals like PCBs, organochlorine, pesticides, as well as phthalates, bisphenols, and heavy metals. Number 9 is supplementation. It might be tempting to run out and grab a supplement, but that's not necessarily the best course of action for everyone. First and foremost, it's important to practice toxic avoidance to prevent the glutathione that we already have from being robbed by toxins in consumer products and our environment. Plus, glutathione in the cells gets recycled. So removing toxins that are depleting our glutathione means that our cells don't have to work as hard to replenish it. So be sure that you are practicing toxic avoidance and work with your doctor to make sure that your detox pathways are open, because supplementation is very individualized. As such, always work with your doctor to determine what you do and do not need. Supplementation for glutathione should be individualized because people have genetic polymorphisms that can reduce their capacity to produce glutathione. So providing precursors like NAC and acetylcysteine might not be the magic bullet that works for every person out there. My personal rule of thumb is toxic avoidance before supplementation. Some glutathione supplements and precursors to ask your doctor about include liposomal glutathione, N-acetylcysteine, whey protein, and IV glutathione. Studies show that whey protein increases glutathione in humans, and it's likely due to the amino acid precursors in the whey protein that are providing the building blocks for our cells to produce glutathione. Remember that protein powders are sources of toxic contaminants like heavy metals, pesticides, plasticizer chemicals, as well as PFAS chemicals. So be sure to vet the brands that you want to buy from and ask them for their third-party test reports. Purity is absolutely paramount and fundamental, so you're not inadvertently increasing your toxic load with contaminated supplements. My personal favorite is by the brand Puri, which is Clean Label Project verified. You can scan the QR code on the back of every container and view the detailed test reports showing all the contaminants that they tested for, the levels, and whether or not they are compliant. If you're on a mission to reduce your toxic load and support your detox pathways, go ahead and click or tap the screen to watch my other videos about non-toxic swaps for you and your entire family. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I'm uploading every single week. I'll see you on the next one.